My name is Sheswell, and today we will be showing you how to defeat the new Simon in the 2025 Game of the Year, Expedition 33. Now, as many of you know who have played this game, Simon is a notoriously difficult boss in the base game, but with the thank you DLC that Expedition 33 added, he is back and harder than ever. The best way to defeat Simon is by pairing him, and we are going to be proving that in this video with a full breakdown of how to parry this boss successfully, as well as a full breakdown of the build that you will need in order to make this the easiest way possible to take down this boss. So we're gonna first go over the actual gameplay itself, where you'll see the live footage as we explain in a voiceover what you're watching out for as far as your parry windows during this fight, what your plan of action is, why certain characters are in certain positions, etc. From there, we'll transition into a breakdown of the build that we use. So if you don't care about the footage itself and you just want the build, the timestamps will be in the description below. So you can click that to check out what weapons, what pictures that you're gonna need in order to make meat work of this boss. So without further ado, let's get into the footage. So when you first fight Simon with the Divergent Star, keep in mind his moveset is almost completely different than the original Simon. No matter what, so when you first fight him, he'll attack with light speed, and behind him you'll see either one beam of light or two. That's going to tell you how many times he's going to attack you with each sword strike. If it's two, you're going to be essentially doing a double parry with a slight pause between it. If it's one, like you see in this footage, you're going to have a longer delay. It's very imperative that you parry his last strike especially, because if you do not, he will wipe you from the canvas immediately. The next part of the Simon fight goes as follows. You'll see one of three different attacks: his powerful attack, his short combo, or his long combo. For each one of these durations, behind him, you're going to see up to 4 beams of light flashing for about 0.2 of a second. And there's going to be optionally some space between each one of those pillars. That is going to be your key to know how many swords he's going to be attacking from each stroke and the amount of pause that you're going to need before you parry it. So because it's our turn and we're doing a parry only challenger, and you'll notice right away we're going to be skipping our turn here, and we're going over some of the rules of the challenger now and what to expect, etc. So essentially, because it is parry only, when it's our turn, we'll be skipping, and we can only parry this boss as a way to damage him. Additional challenge rules are we have only one character. So you saw at the start to the fight, we summoned with Verso and Lune, but Lune immediately died because we equipped the auto death Pictos onto her. This will help with our build, which we'll go over with in the next section of the video. But for now, just understand that's for phase 1. We have the one-on-one fight with Verso, and when he gets to the end of this phase, when he wipes the canvas, that's when phase 2 activates. And to continue the one-on-one fight, we're going to have melee guaranteed. That's why we purposely added Lune, because the next 3 party members will come out automatically after he wipes the canvas. And if you have, say, one party member on here, he's not going to be guaranteed to get melee. So we bring Lune here, guarantee melee on the next. Now, when you're going over each of these combos, you're going to want to pay close attention to any spacing. So you see right here, 1, 2, 3, and then there's a slight pause after that third one. Whenever you see the lights or don't see the lights in your mind, you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, jump, parry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeping count of the 1, 2, 3, 4s will not let you get tripped up by the delays in this fight. So you see right there, the reason that we stay at 1 HP is because Simon will bring us down to 1 HP if we're not. He hit us with a move, and we used the second chance Pictos, which would revive us to 100% health one time in the fight. That let us survive 1 hit, and it's important parts of the build. So as far as pairing Simon the Divergent attacks, we'll see right here, he gets to the point where he removes the expedition from the canvas. And now we see in action how phase 2 is going to start. So we're going to hit continue here, and we will spawn in the fights with melee, as well as the 2 party members that we did not have in phase 1. And that's why, even though it's a one-on-one fight, in phase 1 we had Verso, who was our fighter, and a non-melee character, because if we just had Verso, it would send out 3 random characters in this fight in the reserve team. And to guarantee melees here, we had Lune with the auto Pictos death, And we see right here, we have Morocco and Seal with the auto death Pictos equipped as well. Now the fight's starting, and you see the 2 flashes, this time in light speed. So it's the same timing as the first one, but there's a parry almost immediately after each strike. And again, ending with this last strike, you need to be able to parry that. That's going to be a 1 parry count, and you'll be good to go. So right off the bat, we get back-to-back light speeds, and you see right here, because it's 2 beams of light quickly flashing, that's our cue to know that that follow-up sword is going to be here. So for the light speed attack and the Sword of Lumine attack, they can have a maximum of 2 and sometimes 1. For all the other attacks that he's going to be doing, he's going to have anywhere between 1 to 4, and we see his powerful combo. Very quickly, we saw 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, pause, 2, 3. So as long as you're keeping count of the 1, 2, 3, 4s, 1, 2, 3, 4s, that's going to help you parry. So the long combo comes up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the sections where there's not a sword appear in there, it's that slight pause, right? That slight pause, that's going to help us stay on track. So right there, we saw 1 beam of light flash in the left corner when he did the Sword of Lumine attack. That means we only had 1 sword to counter instead of the 2. So just like the light speed, he can have a maximum of 2 there. And we see the finishing blow as we get a cool little animation of Simon the Divergent Star getting taken down by the whole party. Although, of course, it was just Versa and Melee, each on phase 1, who did the role. So now that we've gone over the voiceover of the actual footage and we understand how to parry each of this boss's attacks, specifically with the 4 sword lights, we're going to get now into a breakdown of the build. Now that we've seen the footage and we know how to parry the boss, let's go over the build itself that you will need in order to defeat him. So first things first, if you are doing this as a solo character challenge like we are, you want to start the fight with Verso and Lune and just equip the auto death Pictos onto Lune. This will ensure in phase 2, melee is for sure going to be there, because if you just start with one character, Verso, phase 2, when he wipes the priority from the canvas, will give you 3 random starters, and we want melee to be our second solo character, right? So Versa will be the first one until Simon wipes the canvas, and then melee will be the second. So to make sure that happens, grab Verso, equipped the auto death Pictos on Lune, equip the auto death Pictos on Seal, and equip the auto death Pictos on Morocco. That will ensure that in phase 1, we have a one-on-one fight with Simon and Verso, and then when phase 2 starts, we'll have a one-on-one fight with Simon and Melee. Now, as far as the build itself for the parries, we'll start first with Verso, and his weapon of choice is going to be the Dreamoso. The reason for that is with his Dreamoso, you are going to get bonus damage whenever you do counterattacks, and since we're pairing, that's the only damage we're going to do. So right off the bat, we see rank 1, we get a immediate rank up on counterattack, and because Simon attacks so often in this fight, you're going to be at rank S almost the entire time. Now, the second benefit of this weapon is that you get a 50% increased damage on your counter attacks. That is absolutely massive. And even though this weapon, the Dreamoso, doesn't do as much damage as melee, so you see here, we're in New Game Plus ready to run back this challenge with times 100 HP on Simon. So we have the fully maxed out Verso here, but in regular New Game, you can just see the difference. The Dreamoso does 9,577 damage, fully maxed out. And her lithium, Melee's lithium, only does slightly more than that, also maxed out about 500 more, but because of this buff that it gets, it's going to be doing significant counterattack damage, not quite as much as the lithium. But again, the reason we save melee for second phase is because second phase is a little bit longer, and we want to get through that as much as possible. So that's the reason that we have it set up first with Verso, second with melee, making sure we get these one-on-one fights. And the weapon for melee is, of course, going to be the lithium, because that means every time she does a counterattack, which she'll be doing a lot of, she's going to switch to her Versace stance, meaning that as she's counterattacking this build, she'll be getting a plus 200% damage buff, which is absolutely massive. That's the enemy buff we care about here with her weapons. So those are the weapon selections and why. Now let's go over the Pictos, and they will both be carrying both. And keep in mind, you can make the Pictos significantly cheaper. The full build to maximize it, if you put Pictos on, only requires, let's take a look at the most expensive ones here. It's only going to require if you want to equip the Pictus on both characters to make it cheaper, it's only going to require a total of, what are the most expensive ones? 40 for second chance, 20 for survivor, 15 for warming up. So that's what, 60, 70. So 75 less luminous if you want to put those on your Pictus. So that'll help you kind of decide how you want to set up your build and why. However, just for the sake of showing the maximum effort of the build, we'll just assume that they're all on Lumine and that you have plenty of Lumine to level it up. So that being said, we'll start at the top and go through the full build to Parry Simon to Oblivion. And the first one that you want to have on is at Death's Door, because you're going to be dealing 50% more damage if your height is below 10%. And because one of Simon's main functions is he keeps you at 1 HP, meaning you're well below 10% the entire fight, this 50% damage buff will be on always. Next up, we have all 3 of the argumented counters, which all stack together: 75%, 50%, 25. That's an additional 150% damage buff whenever we do counter attacks, and that's on top of that 50%. So we're at 200% damage right away, right? Argumented first strike, as well as there's one more over here that's very similar. It's going to be first offensive. It's going to be first offensive. Both of these will help you take 50% more damage buff the very first strike that you do, meaning that first hit is going to have 100% more damage behind it. Now, this one is optional for the Simon fight. It's safe. It's only one, so I just kept it on here. You start the battle with 1 HP. That's if you want to practice this Simon build on another enemy before you fight Simon for whatever reason. So we just have it on there, but keep in mind you don't need that for Simon because he's going to put you at 1 HP himself. Next up, we have the Empowering Jumps Pictus, and this is a new one from the DLC. For the Empowering Jumps, whenever he does his short combo, he has a move where you have to jump over an counter in the air. With this Pictus on Empowering Jump, you're going to be doing 100% more damage on that counter, which is great. Empowering Last Stand means if you're fighting solo, which we are, you're going to gain the powerful ability, and that is going to stack with Greater Powerful and Longer Powerful to give us a bigger attack buff for longer. Next up, we have the Empowering Parry, and this is one of the most important ones in the build because Simon attacks so much and each of his attacks takes so many parry. For example, right when the fight starts, when he does his light speed attack, he has the potential to attack you 19 times in a row. That is 5% times 19. So right off the bat for that turn, you're getting 19 times 5, 95% more damage on the counter attack, and that will keep on going until it is your turn again. Next up, we have the Glass Cannon, meaning that you're going to deal an additional 25% more damage at the cost of taking 25% more damage yourself, which is a great trade-off because, again, we're fighting at 1 HP on Simon, so it doesn't matter if we take more damage than he does out. All of his shots are going to KO our character regardless. Next up, we have the Last Stand Critical. So this is going to make sure that we have a 100% chance of completing a critical strike because we're fighting alone. We are doing a one-on-one fight here, no other hit for party members. So this is a free guaranteed critical strike. This one is pretty interesting. It's called the Inverted Affinity, and that is going to apply inverted on yourself from the start, which would mean that if you are to be healed, then you would be taking damage instead. So if you were healed for 1,000 health, if you're inverted, it's a status condition, you would instead be getting dealt 1,000 health of damage. However, this is important because you're going to get a damage buff of 50% while you're inverted, and that's going to stack with this very cool Pictus over here called Tainted, meaning we get a 15% damage buff each time a status is on our character. So Inverted Affinity for the first 3 turns of the fight is going to give us 50% plus 15, 65% additional damage. And again, we don't mind the trade-off of having the affinity on, the Inverted Affinity on, because it doesn't matter against Simon, you're not going to get healed anyways. It's going to set you down to 1 HP regardless. So it's pointless to heal. So that way it is just a free damage buff. Next up, we have Immaculate, meaning until you get hit 1 time, all of your attacks are doing 30% increased damage, which is great for the Simon fight. The longer you stay perfect, the better. And you have to be perfect to do this fight, with the exception of 2 Pictus that we'll get over shortly. Of course, we want to have painted power on, making sure we can exceed the damage cap. The next up is an interesting one. It's called the Parry Specialist. And this is going to increase our parry, our counterattack damage, but it's going to reduce the parry window. So we get a buff in damage, 25%, but we're going to be more precise on our parries. That is well worth it. You want to be a parry master anyways. That is a free 25% as long as you get your parry game up, which I recommend that you do for this fight. We now have the powered attack Pictus, and this is a really cool Pictus for a build like this, because since we're only parrying every time we're on offense, we're skipping our turn. So all of our APs that we are getting for parrying Simon, we're not using on skills ourselves. Why not find a way to put them to use? The powered attack Pictus, if you have 1 AP available for consumption, every time you do damage, it's going to increase that damage 20%. That means essentially every single time that we do perform a counterattack, it's going to be 20%, because we're going to have the AP to spare always. We do have the roulettes. If you're a high roller, this is going to be well worth it, because Simon, the ability to hit a 200% increase on damage is sometimes the difference between winning and losing this fight with this parry build. 200% is massive, and because of the way percentages work, say you have 1,000 and you add, 100%, 25%, 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%, 10%, 75%, and then you add 200% on top of that. That's how you start hitting in the millions and millions of damage whenever you parry him. So anyone that can add it up, we will have some of those turns that'll be less, but the enormous damage multiplier makes it well worth it. Next up, we do have the Soul Eater. We'll be dealing 30% more damage at the expense of losing 20% of our health per turn. This is great news, because 20% of 1 health is 0.8, right? Meaning that we would have 0.8 health remaining, meaning that this will not affect us at all for the Simon fight. We'll be just be doing a free 30% more damage with Soul Eater activated. Of course, we have Solo Fighter, because we are doing a one-on-one fight. We're getting no other help from any other party members. And if he hits us and finishes us off, we don't get that chance to survive like we would if we were fighting with a full team. We might as well take advantage of that and equip the Solo Fighter Pictus. That means all of our attacks have a 50% buff on this. And next up, we have the Warming Up Pictus, meaning every single turn you do an additional 5% damage, and that can stack 5 times. So 5 turns into the fight, you're doing 25% more damage. Finally, we have our 2 defensive ones, which are the most expensive. And these are pretty important for the build, just for like survivability. You have the Second Chance, which 1 time per battle, you can revive with 100% health, meaning that you are at 1. If you do miss a parry, you're able to revive at 100% health. And next up, we have the Survivor, meaning that essentially the first time you get hit, if it would have killed you, you survive it. So these 2 Pictos equipped lets each character potentially get hit 3 different times against Simon, as opposed to just the one and done. So they are important for survivability, but if you don't have the Pictos, you can put them, or if you don't have the Luminate available, you can put them on your Pictos for free. And you don't need them for the build if you perfectly parry, but I would highly recommend them. If you made it to the end of the video, don't forget to drop a subscription if you think the build will help you. But enough about me, enough about the build. I want to hear from you. What do you think about the parry-only build, specifically designed for Simon? What are some of the things that you would change? Did we miss any Pictus that could potentially help us in the build? Let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. And until next time, for those who come next.